Hello, everybody, and thank you for your support of Indie Agency News. Let's meet an indie agency. We head down south, Atlanta. Christy and Genna joining us from trade school.
Hey there.
Hello.
Look at this, coast to coast. I'm up here in Portland, and not quite the Miami flight, but that's not a short flight.
Thanks for having us.
Of course, and we get a chance to meet you a little bit more. Let's start with this. Tell me about when the agency was founded, and just give us a little bit of a snapshot before we get kicking.
Yeah, pretty much the best timing ever. Like a solid 3 weeks before COVID started is when we launched the shop. Okay. But it was so early 2020. And we were very lucky in the end. Our clients and the clients that we brought on immediately following our launch did very well in the stay-at-home economy. So Home Depot, FedEx, we really, pivoted quickly. We were already a very nimble shop. So the virtual environment, it just kind of poured gasoline on the fire. But we started the shop largely driven by what was sort of happening from a data and personalization evolution in the industry. So, one of our biggest clients at the time, Home Depot, was suddenly sitting on, a gold mine of first-party data, huge amount of customer information, and that really unlocked a sophisticated personalization strategy in terms of how they were reaching their customers and audiences, which created just an insane content inventory. So suddenly there was this beast to feed. And we were, at the time, a group of us at 22 Squared, our now sister agency, sort of incubated the shop with, the needs of clients like Home Depot and others like it. So again, we sort of shot out of a cannon, not knowing what was coming from a macro standpoint with the pandemic. But we brought a lot of amazing people with us that we had worked together for years and years, and in great partnership with the clients, like I said, that spun off with us, and here we are, almost 5 years later.
I love it. Let's start with this question. What would you say the agent, you've touched on a few things, but what would you say the agency is best known for, and what would you say are the agency's top 3 core strengths? Because every agency has a list of things, but more often than not, 3 things usually rise to the top. So what would you say you're best known for and those top 3 core strengths? Christy, you want to take that one?
Yeah, absolutely. So as Genna mentioned, we kind of spun out of another agency, and, the industry was changing rapidly. Every single marketer that we would talk to said, I need more content. I need content that's more effective across all of these different channels, and I need it fast. And so kind of the model that we built was based on having strategy, creative, but also production working together from the jump. And I'd say in terms of what we're known for, kind of what we've been talking to clients about, is this ability to create this very personalized content at scale. And that wasn't really possible in the kind of more traditional agency model. There was a lot of baton passing. There was a lot of, let's triple bid it out to production companies and see what they come back with. And in order to fulfill this content inventory, as Genna mentioned, it really needs to be done much more efficiently, faster, but without losing the creative quality. And so I would say that kind of personalized content at scale is kind of became what we become known for. And then as part of that, the other 2 offerings that really support that is our influencer team. So we have about 20 people that specialize in influencer program strategy and architecture, all the way to actual, negotiating with the different creators, how we're going to use their content, creating that content in partnership with them, all the way through affiliate and measurement. So that's become a really important part of our offering, especially as the creator economy has exploded of late.
Right.
And then the other piece is our dynamic engine. And dynamic has a lot of different meanings in the market right now. But what we mean is really this specialized workflow. So we have skills, tools, and a very specific workflow to create these assets at scale. So when you need to create, thousands of assets to fulfill an inventory, you cannot go through the traditional agency process. And so we've really built a model of different skill sets, supported by a very specific tech stack and a workflow to achieve that kind of scale and personalization. So I'd say those two things are kind of what's really leading the charge right now and what clients have really been excited about.
Yeah, let's move on to being independent. Why is it so important to be independent for your team and for your clients?
Sure, I'll take that one too. I think, we've all worked at the big holding company agencies. I think it comes down to two main things, and probably a lot of things that have been shared through your previous guests. But, the first one is this ability to iterate and evolve quickly. When we have an idea or a concept or a service or a new offering that we want to bring to the table, we can gather around the table quickly and make it happen. That's just not possible in the confines of a holding company model. And the second is who you make your decisions for. Being an independent lets us make decisions for our clients and for our people, not shareholders. And so again, I think that's probably a common sentiment among agencies, but I'd say those are the two biggest ones for us.
That makes sense. Genna, anything to add to that?
No, I mean, I would just say that in general, being able to truly do what's best for the clients is also, I think, a product of being independent. If you are beholden to a PE firm or the overlords in, London or New York, you can't make choices that are the right things to do that ultimately, drive your business. But I think we've had a few examples of even bringing entire service lines of ours in-house and helping our clients do that. And there's not a PE firm in the world that would allow that, and then that, but doing the right thing for the client and helping them in their evolution then ultimately pays dividends in terms of future partnership opportunities. So it's the right thing for us. And it's also, I think, the right thing for a lot of clients.
Genna, keeping it with you, and you've covered a lot of this, but I'll ask it. What's the main reason a branch should work with trade school?
Well, I think, there's a lot. I think we help marketers solve modern problems. And I think that's probably the most tangible reason, but I think the most intangible reason is the way that we partner with our clients. Again, a product of being independent, a product of who we are as a leadership team. We genuinely believe that agencies can be extensions of client teams. And if you get to know the business inside and out, and you get to know your clients inside and out, and you can truly drive what's best for them forward, then you have a different kind of partnership. You're not a vendor. You're not like in it for the margin or the fee growth. You are truly partnering. And I think that is a lost art. I think in today's, project and economy, gig economy. And I think we are foundationally and philosophically believe that we could do more when we act that way as an extension versus, there to drive our own agenda. Yeah,
makes sense. Let's talk a little bit about talent. Christy, I want to start with you on this one. Why should talent be putting trade school on their list of destinations of excellence?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we talk a lot about independence and the ability that gives us to iterate, chart our own destiny, and stay ahead of what's next, which is what we talk about a lot. So beyond that, it's interesting because we are still a sister company with 22 Squared. We have a really great, legacy of excellence and stability and growth. The company overall is female, majority female owned and led. And so that's really interesting in today's environment as well. And that independence, that kind of entrepreneurial spirit stems all the way down into how we think about problem solving. So we ask our teams all the time, if you see a better way of doing things, please bring that forward and let's build it. Or if you see a new offering we can bring to our clients, let's build it. Let's architect it together. If you see something that we're doing because it's always been done that way and we need to stop, bring that forward. And so that's the constant way that we're talking to our team, is that this is a place where you can come, you can build, you can incubate, you can launch new things. And so for people who really want an opportunity to lean into their kind of inner entrepreneur and build within a company that has strong financial historic foundation, it's a really great place to do that. And we reward people for that. We have an annual award, or twice a year award, the Nailed It Award. And it's a peer nominated program where we're really celebrating people who have thought about, a new way of doing something, or, hey, we're doing this thing for our client, but it would actually make more sense to train them on how to do it themselves. And so I think it's a really entrepreneurial place. We really value, learning and innovation. And we do a lot to really support kind of the whole self of the people and what they bring to work. And so Genna has set a great example of, we're humans first. We have a lot of really great programming that supports people and their whole health. Our perks and benefits are really impressive. And again, we're just we try and experiment a lot of new things. And how do we build culture in a remote first world, and when it's really easy for people to jump around in new places. And so I think that kind of innovation and entrepreneurship is really special, and what a lot of people are craving these days.
All right, so hold on, so I want to ask about Atlanta here in a second.
Yeah.
So all right, so I bought a brick for the Olympics so it was 96.
Nice. Okay.
Let's see if I can find my brick.
It's amazing.
Brick locator. All right. Purchaser's first name and last name. Let's say Douglas. Search. Where is it? Is it there? Hold on. Oh. All right. Hold on. So hold on. All right. Here you go, y'all. Brick location 67.
No way.
It's still there.
There you go.
Amazing.
Wait, 60 right there. Like that's a good slot, isn't it?
Prime real estate.
Fantastic. Yeah. I will say Atlanta has changed a lot since then.
No, I'm aware. But this is like my one piece of fame. I mean, that's like, he's in the fancy part of town. So I'm very excited to come back down.
Very nice. I know. We're looking forward to having you. Yeah.
So let's talk about Atlanta, though, because it's always been a dynamic, and I got one more question, or a little thought exercise question after we talk about Atlanta. It's always been a very dynamic place, especially creatively.
Yeah.
And I was in hip hop and R&B for 5 years. And obviously at that stretch, Atlanta was coming up in a lot of different ways. Ludacris was really leading a lot of that. But Outkast, and just, name a great artist, and chances are Atlanta has influenced him in some way, shape, or form. But how does the vibe of Atlanta inform how you approach things? Because in similar vein, here in the Pacific Northwest, might approach it a little bit differently as opposed to, say, a Minneapolis or a Chicago or even a New York or a Boston. I'm curious about what is it about Atlanta that makes it, that just makes it this creative hotbed that helps with your goals and with your clients' goals.
Well, I mean, the phrase is Atlanta influences everything. So we got to say that. But I mean, I think it's a lot of things. I mean, the city, to Christy's point, has changed so much and is far more dynamic and diverse and creative in the last 10 years than, I was born and raised here. So I've watched it evolve. And I think there's a couple of really cool things happening. One is the production environment. I'm sure you've heard we're like the Hollywood of the South. And, with Tyler Perry Studios and all of the
Donald Glover.
Exactly. And everything that's happening from a production standpoint, I think, again, is a huge advantage for us as we're crewing up, and locations and equipment and everything are all at our fingertips. Our production studios in West Midtown, next door to one of the biggest production studios in the city. And so there's a lot of shared resources, the best talent, and just, again, a very creative and production focused city. There's a huge creator community here. We have this, I don't know what you would call it, a transportation, like essentially the former railroad system has become this thing called the Beltline, and it runs through all the neighborhoods, and it connects everything. And that has been both like a physical and metaphorical connector for the city. And I think it's created a lot of really cool, just from a mobility standpoint and a creator standpoint, there's a lot of connectivity there. So we have a huge creator network and a lot of really interesting food and bar scenes and all the things. So that's sort of in the creative vein. And then there's like a lot of Fortune 500s here. So you have like thriving corporate environment. And when all those things, mixed together, you've got, like, in our opinion, the coolest city in the world. So we're Atlanta proud and always have been, always will be, and want to work with, all of those communities. And obviously some of our biggest clients are based here.
The food is so good.
There's also a really big startup scene here, which has been really interesting in terms of like the types of people that that work with us, or the partners, that we want to work with through, Venture Atlanta and the Atlanta Tech Village. And so all of these incubators for great ideas and creativity, mixed with the Fortune 500 environment, it makes for a really dynamic business environment too.
Yeah, makes sense. Let's finish up with a little bit of a thought experiment. Whether they're a current client or not, who is a CMO or a marketer you would like to say hello to?
We talked about this one and we had so many to choose from, but I think it goes back to the conversation we were just having. Like, we are both, I'm also born and raised in Atlanta. A lot of our leadership team is from Atlanta. We are Atlanta proud. We love our city, and we think that we have a really unique offering here in Atlanta, and we would love to work with any of our big Atlanta neighbors, some of the big Fortune 500s that are headquartered here. And so
be specific.
Specific.
Delta, Georgia.
Who am I going to tag on? Who am I going to tag on?
You know him.
I can't just tag all of Atlanta. Fortune 500s.
There you go. Jenna said them. Delta. UPS,
Delta and UPS.
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. Got it. Yeah, the food though, I can't wait. Some of the best shrimp and grits I ever had.
There you go. That's right.
So good. So good. Well, I'm excited to get back down to see y'all.
Looking forward to it. There you go. I was waiting for it to come out at some point.
There you go. There you go.
Love it.
But seriously, I've known some of your founders of the parent company for a long time. You have a wonderful team. You have a wonderful business. And the biggest thing is that you're helping other businesses grow as well. So Christy and Genna, thank you so much for joining us. We wish you the very best and continued success down in the ATL.
Thank you so much, Doug. We look forward to hosting you soon.
Yeah.